Hey, Grand Rapids, did you know home prices are up almost 16% year over year? Well, they are. Welcome to the Grand Rapids, Michigan, Kent County residential real estate market update with data through May 2022. My name is Rodney Constable. I'm a realtor with 616 Realty out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Year over year, home prices are up 15.9% in the Grand Rapids area, with the average home selling for $344,718. 1 year ago, the average home was selling for $297,319. For years, I've heard people saying things like home prices can't continue to go up. Well, when I hear things like that, I think about the input costs to building a home. And some of the major input costs to building a home are land, labor, materials, and regulatory costs. So if somebody thinks that home prices cannot continue to rise in the future, what they're basically saying is that land is going to get cheaper and more plentiful. Labor is going to get cheaper and more plentiful. Materials are going to get cheaper and more plentiful. And the government's going to make regulatory costs of building a house cheaper and easier. And guys, when we just think about these four input costs, land, labor, materials, and regulatory costs, do we really think that any of these input costs to building a home are going to fall in the future? I doubt it. So if land, labor, materials, and regulatory costs are going to continue to go up, then home prices probably will continue to rise in the future as well. The average home is selling after being on the market for just 10 days. When we compare that to the inventory of unsold homes, those homes have been on the market for an average of 39 days. What these two data points tell us is that if a home is properly priced, it will sell relatively quickly. In this case, about a week and a half. However, if a home is not properly priced for its condition, location, and amenities, it will stay on the market for an extended period of time. Right now, about a month and a half. Next, let's take a look at year-to-date new listings versus the same period 1 year ago. So again, we're looking at the first 5 months of calendar year 2022 and comparing that to where we were for the first 5 months of calendar year 2021. And in this category, we can see that there's been 3.53% fewer listings come to market this year, calendar year 2022 so far through the end of May, versus the first 5 months of 2021. Now, when we look at this data in a numerical format, we can see that in 2022 so far through the end of May, we have had 3,792 listings come to market versus 3,931 for the first 5 months of 2021. So that's 139 fewer listings, or 3.53% fewer listings compared to last year. Now, I like to look at longer run data. So let's go down to 2016, and you can see that for the first 5 months of calendar year 2016, there were 4,975 listings that had come to market. So when we compare 2016 to where we're at in 2022, right, 7 years later, we can see that there's 1,183 fewer listings for the first 5 months of this year versus what we had seen in 2016. That's a 23.78% differential. And at 3,792, right, if we look down through these last 7 years of data, this is as far back as the data is reported in this particular format for Kent County. So this is as far back as I can take the data. But you can clearly see at 3,792 that this is the lowest listing count that we've had for the first 5 months of any year in the last 7 years. Okay, so 2021 and 2020 were fairly equivalent. Obviously they dropped off compared to say 2019, where you can see we had 4643 in 2019 and then 4648 in 2018, and then we had that drop off. Well, obviously it's the results of COVID, right? But now the situation is even getting worse at 3,792. So guys, this is this supply constraint, right? Fewer homes coming to market, and obviously there's a demand for homes, so that continues to push the housing price up because there's just so few homes out there for sale. And if somebody wants a home, they're going to have to pay a little bit more for it than what they would have a year or two ago. Now, let's take a look at year-to-date closed transactions. So what we were just looking at were year-to-date listings. Okay, and then we looked at the last 7 years of data. Now let's look at the closed transactions, so those homes that actually sold. So this is the number of residential homes sold versus the same period 1 year ago. And in this category, we're down 10.06%. When we look at this data in a numerical format, also over the last 7 years, we can see, starting in 2022, we can see there's been 2,941 closed transactions for the first 5 months of this year. That's down 329 or 10.06% versus where we were last year when we had 3,270 for the first 5 months of the year. And then you can see in 2020 there was 2,780. So, and obviously again because of COVID, right? You know, there was a lot of real estate transactions that couldn't get done because we as realtors for quite a while in 2020 were not allowed by law to really do anything. So you can see that, looking back over the last 7 years here, the only year over the last 7 years where there's been fewer transactions closed has been in 2020 because of COVID. So again, let's look at 2016, and you can see for the first 5 months of 2016, there were 3,729 closed transactions. When we compare that to this year, we can see we're down 788 closed transactions or 21.13% versus where we were 7 years ago. Now, intuitively, right, you would think that over time you would see an increase in the amount of listings, an increase in the amount of closed transactions, but that is not happening. We're going in the opposite direction. Okay, so the run. I would like to see this flip around, and I would think at some point in the future that will happen. But guys, this is a very, very tight market. This is still a seller's market, and as a buyer, and I help buyers, right? Get homes, right? But there are certain strategies, certain tactics that we have to use in this type of an environment to put the odds in your favor of getting a home that you want. So please call me. And again, the phone number is 616-258-4782. And you can scroll back on the video, and it's on that introduction slide, and it'll also be at the tail end of the video as well. But 616-258-4782, that is the best way to reach me. And please let me help you, whether you're a seller or a buyer in the Grand Rapids area. Let me help you accomplish your real estate goals. Okay, so let's move on to the average months of inventory in Kent County. Now, in this category, I have more information available to me, so I'm able to run this back to 2013. And what we can see is this year in 2022, we're running 0.6 months of inventory. Now, what this means is that if no new homes came to market in Kent County, we would be completely, based on our current sell rate, we would be completely sold out of homes in the entire county of Kent County in an average of about 18 days. And that was virtually the same as last year. And then you can see in 2020, we had basically twice the inventory at 1.1 months. All right, and you can see when you look over, going clear back to 2013, that the highest inventory number that we have had for a decade or so here in Grand Rapids in Kent County has been 2.3 months of inventory. And I can tell you guys, at 2.3 months of inventory, that is very, very low inventory. And right now, we're running about a quarter of that. So why does inventory matter? Well, as we can see here, if you have between 1 and 2 months of inventory, you probably are going to experience double-digit price appreciation on homes. And that is exactly what we have seen for many years here in the Grand Rapids area. If you're running between 3 and 4 months of inventory, you would generally experience single-digit price appreciation. If the inventory built to where you had between 5 and 6 months of inventory, this is more of a normal, balanced, or neutral market where you might experience some price appreciation, but it would more than likely be in the low single digits. And if you're under 5 to 6 months of inventory, this is considered a seller's market, and that's exactly what we have seen for many years here in Grand Rapids. If you're over 6 months of inventory, this is considered a buyer's market. And if your inventory built to between 7 and 8 months, that's when you would most likely experience single-digit price depreciation. And then if the inventory built to 9 months plus, that's when you would likely see double-digit price depreciation. So 7 to 8 months of inventory, single-digit price depreciation, 9 months plus, that's when we start to get into double-digit price depreciation. Are you looking for a realtor you can trust? Would you like to work with a realtor who is knowledgeable, professional, polite, honest, integrable, communicative, and hardworking? If so, look no further. Whether you are looking to sell or buy a home in the Grand Rapids area now or at some point in the future, I will help you make that happen. When you are ready, let me put my decades of sales and business experience to work for you. When you think real estate, think Rodney. I will work quickly to help you achieve your real estate objectives. Call me directly at 616-258-4782 to discuss your situation or to just talk about real estate. Also, don't forget to add my name and contact information under the title of Realtor or Real Estate Agent into your cell phone. This way, the information is instantly available whenever you need it. Thank you for telling your friends, family, and colleagues about me. I appreciate you spreading the word, and I look forward to helping you succeed.